Hey guys, welcome to another video. My name is Lucas and today we will be looking at 6 tips and tricks or hacks which you can use to improve your workflow in FL Studio. A good workflow is essential to create music, to create beats, to create remixes or whatever you are creating in your music program. A good workflow comes with a good hardware setup or a good software setup, or both. In this video, I will be teaching you how to set up your software FL Studio to get a good workflow. These 6 tips comes from my own experience and some tips that I was inspired by a few years back. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so the first tip is get a template or make one yourself. I made this myself with a little inspiration of In The Mix, you know, the other YouTube channel. But essentially, a template is some sort of guide to help you make your music. I struggled earlier this year with making music, not because I was bad, but because I couldn't get the workflow going. I didn't know where to go. So I looked up templates from In The Mix on YouTube and I got this inspiration. So first of all, I made an instrument area in blue, and the instruments are kind of the real instruments: piano, guitar, string, wind, brass, bass and others, even though they are VSTs in a digital music program. I also have my synth sections. Again, all the synths that you can make in a music program. I have my drums, SFX and vocals. Below each section I have my automation clips, which leads to some of the patterns up here. This also accounts for the synths, the drums. I don't have automation clips yet, but still, SFX automation and vocal automation. So this template I created before I made the song, and then I saved this template as a single file. Then before I create the song in the template, I duplicate this template and save it as a new song. I call it, for instance, ITM2 or something else, because then I can always go back to my original template file and open it up again. So also, as you can see, coloring is key. I color everything, both my arranged tracks, my patterns. I also color my mixer and also my channel rec. So what you can also do is to create markers within your arranger. Markers is what determines where you are in your song. For instance, I call this one verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, chorus 2, drop 1. You get the point. So for instance, if I only want to hear the verse, it sounds like this. And if I want to hear the chorus 2, it sounds like this. This makes it so much easier to get around your song instead of kind of pinpointing out where you want to click. So the last thing about this template is creating groups. So maybe you know this. You can right click on any arranger track and you can click on group with above track. This means if you group it with the above track, you can close it. So everything I don't want to see, I can close that. So I can very, very quickly find what I want to find, and I can very, very quickly close what I don't want to see. Okay, so the next tip is layering. And layering is a very useful tool if you have a melody or some chords that you have played by a lot of instruments. You can, with layering, change everything by doing it in one MIDI file. So right now I have this lead. And as you can see, both of them are routed to mixer channel number 8, but they have their own MIDI file. So what you can do now is you can go to layer right here, and it will open up this box right here. If you click and drag like this, set children, and turn the volume all the way up, you can now play this. So you will be playing both the first and the second instrument. So you can basically just cut the first, paste, and then just cut this one. So now you will be playing both instruments at once when you play. So yeah, let's move on to the next tip. Okay, so the third tip is using shortcuts. Shortcuts let you move around in your music program very, very quickly. And I have a couple of shortcuts that I will be showing you now. So the first one is press Ctrl and the middle mouse, just click, and you will be able to make your arranger larger. If you press Ctrl and roll with your mouse, you will be able to make it wider, just like this. And if you press Ctrl S while looking up here, you'll see that I will be saving my track. So I don't have to press the save button every single time. So the next 3 shortcuts is F5, F6 and F9. F5 lets you close and open your arranger. F6 lets you open and close your channel rack, and F9 lets you open and close your mixer. The next one is middle mouse clicking for naming. So let's say that you want to rename this one or just name it. So you go to rename and color. Instead of doing this, you can just press down the middle mouse, just like this. This also works in the mixer and in the channel rack as well, just like that. So the next one is one that I use all the time. It is Ctrl and R at the same time. You'll get a save location, you hit save, and then you can choose what kind of render you want. So you don't have to go to File, Export, and then you choose. Just Ctrl R, save, and then choose what you want to render. The last 3 shortcuts is within the arranger. So first you can press Z, which allows you to zoom in and out of the arranger. You can also press P, so now you can go back and set your patterns as you want to. And you can also press C, so now you can cut everything you want. But I don't want to do that because that will ruin my mix right now. So yeah, that was the shortcuts, and now I will move on to the next tip. So for this one, I will be using the mixer. And in the mixer, there are a couple of things that you can do to really make your workflow easier. The first one is, let's say that I take this and I want to move the Fruity compressor without hitting move up or down. You can actually just hover above with your mouse and scroll up and down. It is very, very easy to use. The next one is how you can solo something. You can actually, instead of, remove everyone, you can actually right click and solo, for instance, this one, or this one, or this one. So if we go to the arranger and we go to the chorus, and let's say we will take this one, or this one, or this one, we can solo everything. And if you right click one more time, you will unsolo, if you can say that. And if you right click again, you can solo. So yeah, very, very easy tip. You can also adjust the height of the mixer. If you take the 3 dots right here or right here, you can adjust the height of the mixer. You can also choose to turn effects on or off if you want to hear the sound without effects. For instance, if we take the lead that I have created, if I want to turn off all the effects so I can hear the difference, I just press this little stick right here. Let's move on to the next tip. So this tip is kind of not related to your software, but more related to how your music production habits are. Take a break means that you are not quitting making music, but for a while you stop making music. For instance, once I took a break for I guess 2 months, and I have also done it for 2 weeks. Sometimes I do it for 2 days, sometimes I don't do it at all. It is very, very differently how I do it. So this comes from that you want to make music, but you kind of cannot get into the flow, even though you have a template, you know all these tricks. Maybe you have heard some tricks from other producers, but still you don't kind of want to make music even though you want to, if that makes sense. Take a break, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, listen to some music on Spotify, Tidal, wherever you hear your music, watch some movies, maybe you'll get inspired from other sound sources, and then go back to your music. If you keep producing music while you are tired of making music, then your workflow will completely stop. I've been there and I don't want to be there again. So if my workflow is very, very, very bad, even though I have a lot of templates, have a lot of tips, have a lot of tricks, then I quit the music, maybe for 2 weeks, and then I come back later to make more music because I heard something inspiring, or I got an idea while I was playing the piano, or something like that. So let's move on to the next one. So the final tip is about the channel rec right here. The channel rec can be divided into groups, and usually when I see YouTube videos about FL Studio, I see a lot of producers, they just have all their instruments in the same group called typically unsorted audio or all. But as you can see, I have drumline, I have guitar, I have lead, I have piano, I have pluck, everything. And the groups I make right here fit to the groups I have in my arranger right here. So the way that you make a group, you can do this in 2 ways. For instance, if we take this was just the first idea, but if we take this and I press Alt and G, you can rename this group to whatever you want to. For instance, unsorted 2, like this. There we go. So now this is unsorted 2, this is unsorted 1. So you can rename the groups like that, but I want it to be in unsorted. So now it is back. You can also go directly into this group, right click, add filter group, and you can, for instance, say something like time, just, you know, for an example, and then you have a group called time. You can also delete the group just like that. So right now I can still jump between all the other groups. And when I press a pattern selected to a group, this will be my guitar pattern, then it will find my guitar group because the MIDI files are placed in the music's instruments within that group. This also works for the pad, the pluck, the piano, the drum line, the percussion, everything. When you have a MIDI placed within the instruments in this group, you will also be finding the group automatically when you choose your pattern. So yeah, that was the final tip. So yeah guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, subscribe, like it, share it, and ring the bell like everyone else says. If you have any suggestions, any comments, just write them in the comments below. And now I will play this track for you that I've made so far. Yeah, once again, thank you for watching and have a nice day.